You're listening to Pack Dynamics, a Fandom on the Rocks podcast. Hello, welcome back to Pack Dynamics, a Teen Wolf podcast. I'm Emily.
And I'm Allison.
And this is Season 3, Episode 6, Motel California.
I feel like we said it last episode, but we need to reiterate it again after having watched this episode. If you are perhaps not in your best favorite state of mind right now, just go ahead and pause this episode.
Yeah.
We have content warnings for a lot of things in this episode, including suicide, gun violence, drowning, physical, psychological abuse, self-harm, psychosis.
This episode, the actual episode, opens with a viewer discretion warning.
Yeah, it does. And for good reason. So,
which I don't think I've seen on another Teen Wolf episode.
No, I do not believe so. This one is special. Mm-hmm. It's amazing and special. I very much want you to listen to this. I very much want you to watch this episode, but I also need you to take care of yourself. So take a deep breath and let's go.
The rundown of this episode is stranded at a motel for the night because of the postponed cross-country meet. Scott and the others suffer strange experiences that cause them to believe members of their own group may be the mysterious killer's newest targets. This episode aired July 8th, 2013. This does not feel like a middle of the summer episode. This feels like a Halloween episode.
Correct.
However, try to imagine that it is not a blazing summer day while you are watching this. Imagine it is a dark and spooky night, because that really sets the vibes.
It does. It's a whole vibe.
Yeah, this is honestly, I really like this episode.
Oh yeah. It's one of those things that it's got such a different tone than so many other things. It almost feels like a spec script.
Yeah, it does.
It almost feels like a spec script. It's not a bottle episode, but it's basically a bottle episode.
Yeah, they don't leave the motel until the very end. They don't stay in one room, though. They stay at the motel.
They stay at the motel, which is why it's not a bottle episode. Yeah. But you're not in Beacon Hills. You're not, your usual support system isn't around. It feels a little like you're trapped, but it's really different.
A little trapped.
They're a little trapped. They're a lot of trapped, but it's very interesting.
I wonder if any Teen Wolf episodes came from spec scripts, because this would have been, starting 2012 into 13 when the writing rooms were a little different than they are now. I don't know that anyone's getting spec scripts produced now.
Yeah, I don't know.
That'd be interesting to know. Mm-hmm. Get the writer on the phone. Tell them Fandom on the Rocks is on the line. We'll return. Some of us worked at an agency. And some of
us worked in Hollywood. Thank you very much.
Who hasn't? So this episode...
Is it funny that I worked for Hollywood when I was living in New York?
No, that's transcontinental work.
Yeah, but still, I worked for Hollywood. But
it was remote work before remote work was cool.
Yeah, it was remote work in an office. You worked in Hollywood in Hollywood. I worked in Hollywood in New York.
I did.
Also did you, but...
Tried so hard to get heckling on the phone and I was kidding. Rats! Got so close. No, that would be weird.
That would be weird. Okay,
So this episode opens with a nice sepia tone, which is how you know that we're not in the right frame.
Yeah, because my notes say sepia-colored flashback. Are we in Mexico?
Why does every movie use the same sepia filter to tell you you're in Mexico?
I don't know, but Teen Wolf will be guilty of it here soon. So
I know. And I've seen, YouTube explainers, and they're like, here's what Mexico actually looks like. It's not sepia, you guys.
It's not sepia colored, you guys. It's just, it's regular colored.
It's the same. It's not a dust bowl. Frankly, the U.S. is dusty as shit, too.
Correct.
Anyway, so this broke down truck pulls into this motel. A gentleman gets out. He's a little rough. He's got a bleeding leg, a duffel bag, and as the camera pans by a newsstand, bet you haven't seen one of those in a while,
Ooh.
The paper reads March 5th, 1977. So we've got ourselves a flashback.
Flashback.
And he is at the Motel Glen Capri, which is a fabulous name for a shitty motel, frankly.
Correct.
And he is going into room 217. Make a note if you haven't seen this episode. If you have seen it, you know what's happening. And this poor man has a big-ass wolf bite on his side chest. situation.
Chomp.
He's been chomped. It's a full moon. I think we know where we're going with this.
Indeed. I have to point out, is that man wearing an Argent necklace? Like that silver pendant with a wolf on it?
It does look like it, which would make sense because this is Alexander Argent.
As
from
we see
Massachusetts.
from his ID.
Yeah. He throws his ID down on the floor, which is great for us, so we know who it is. I don't know.
Yes.
I mean, I think he did that just for us, the audience.
He did.
So that
he did that just for us, the audience.
That we could see his name and that he is from Massachusetts. I don't know if that's important later. But he gets down on the motel floor and starts reciting the Argent family code? Motto?
Something in French. Maybe it's the Lord's Prayer in French. I don't know.
It's that French thing that we've heard them say before that I told myself I was going to write down, and then I didn't. Oh, it's the "We hunt those who hunt us."
Yeah, but in French.
But in French, which, I'm not going to repeat because my accent is horrible. And then he shoots himself right as his eyes turn yellow.
Very reminiscent of Victoria from last season.
Yep. Except he didn't have any help. He had to do this by himself.
He did.
But he was not, he was really like gung-ho about it. He was not hesitating in this act.
No, so, he very much did this like on purpose.
Yeah. And that is how this episode starts. And we slide cut right into present day. And you know that because the sepia filter disappears as the school bus.
It goes from yellow to blue. Thanks, guys.
And the Beacon Hills kid roll up to that same ass motel.
So as we talk about, how long has it been since each episode? It has been like 7 minutes.
Yep. It's just enough time to get from the road to this motel.
Yes. So this is a direct, they have not gone home. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. They are just right into this next episode, which explains why Lydia and Allison are on the bus.
Yes. Frayed and Motel California they're not even sister episodes. They are part 1, part 2.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Nobody likes this motel. It looks gross. Although I feel like I've stayed. We've stayed at shitty motels.
Yeah, I've stayed at worse motels than this.
They can be fun, honestly.
Yeah.
But the meet.
This one, not so much.
This one, not so much. The cross-country meet has been postponed until the next day. We don't know why. Maybe because everyone's stuck in traffic?
Maybe.
I don't know. The coach makes a big mistake by letting everyone choose their own room partner.
Correct.
I feel like that is not the appropriate way to dole out room keys.
Well, okay.
And he is like, keep your dirty little hands to your dirty little selves. Like, he knows what they're going to do.
Coach specifically says no sexual perversions. And the best way to do that is to do the rooms yourselves. But here's the thing, is that teenagers are really, really dedicated to the things that they want. So if Coach were to go through everybody and match everybody up just the way he wants them to, the kids will all beg and plead and go behind their backs and switch keys and everything. And so it's just not enough. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. Coach is not, because he'd have to police it all night, and he's not going to do that.
He's not going to do that. No. No. So they kind of head towards the motel, and Lydia is just not into it.
Nope.
She takes one look at this motel and is like, hard pass. No, thank you. Everyone else is like, it's gross. We've seen worse. No thanks. And she has a great line about or Allison says it's just one night, and Lydia says a lot can happen in one night, which they all know from their lives the last year.
Yes, they all know. They all know. Almost all of them were at the Alpha fight. Almost all of them
we're at Lydia's birthday party.
We're at Lydia's birthday party. We all know what could happen in one night. We know. We know
one nights are real bad for this team.
Yeah. Lydia's correct.
So, I think they should have thought about sleeping on the bus first.
Correct.
If history means anything to them, this motel was a bad idea.
Yeah.
They go in. So we've got our pairings, not our pairings, but our pairings.
Our roommates.
They were roommates.
Roommates, exactly. Are they roommates? Are they roommates?
Are they roommates? Styles and Scott are in room 213. And they are talking about the suspects for the sacrifices. Harris is number 1 on Styles' list because they don't know he's been choked out. They don't know he's gone yet.
Just because he's missing doesn't mean he's dead.
Which, fair. I mean, in this show,
if TV's taught us anything.
If TV has taught us anything, if you don't see the body, they're not dead yet, Derek. I like remembering the plot about Matt and Stiles believing that he was the killer the first go around and no one believing.
Yes.
So I appreciate that Teen Wolf was like, let's pull that thread back about Stiles being the one to think that Matt was a problem, because the audience, I think, was like, ew, Matt and his photographs and his grossness.
Yeah.
And Scott and everyone else was like, he seems fine.
All right, goggle alert. Stiles is going through his list. He has Derek on there twice.
He does have Derek. Yes, his list, what did he say? His list was 10. Well, it was 11, but I had Derek on there twice. Well, he's thinking about him a lot.
Stiles is thinking about Derek, and I'm really mad about it. I'm really mad about it because Scott's entire plot, the entire last episode, was about Derek, and it's not Scott who talks about Derek. It's Stiles.
Nope. It's Stiles.
All right. Oh,
and I think we have moved on in the story from Derek being a bad guy.
Yeah.
So why does Stiles have Derek as a murder suspect anyway? Stiles, are you
old
just
habits die hard, I guess.
What you listen to Taylor? Old habits die screaming.
Old habits die screaming. Old habits die howling.
Yes. There we go. Subject of the episode. So Cora is a suspect because no one knows anything about her. I can see it. Yeah. But, I get it. Deaton is a suspect because Stiles doesn't like his whole Obi-Wan Kenobi thing.
Canon or Fanon. Canon or Fanon alert.
Mm-hmm.
Scott has not seen Star Wars.
Well, at this point, canon.
Yeah, at this point, canon.
Beginning of season 3, canon that Scott has not seen Star Wars. It is up to the viewer to decide how long that lasts, I think.
Yeah.
I kind of love that he just chooses to never see Star Wars.
Yes, correct. Just because it irks Stiles. It's my favorite thing.
Because I can be like that. If someone's like, you really need to watch this, like, not anymore.
No, thank you.
Not until you shut up about it. As we say it, that we have a podcast about TV shows that are 12 years old. And we're like, you should watch this.
Oh, yeah.
Yikes. And Lydia is a suspect.
And again, I'm really sad about it.
Yeah.
But if you think about it all the way through, she does tend to show up where the bodies are, and she was possessed by that guy that one time and does go into fugue states often. And I can see where he's coming from. I'm not supportive, but I can understand it.
Yeah. I don't love it, but I see it. And they just don't have a lot of the pieces.
Right.
Well, they do have some pieces that could help them, but no, they don't. They don't have enough pieces.
They have a lot of pieces, but they're still missing.
Mm-hmm.
They're missing the big connection.
Yeah.
And which we don't have as an audience yet.
No, not at all.
And also it's to Stiles' credit, Mr. Allen, Dr. Deaton has a lot more information about this that he is not sharing with Scott.
No, he's really not. And
this is important information that he could be using to help, and he is refusing.
He's refusing, and it's information the audience can't really even guess at until you watch the season and then look back.
Right.
And even then, having seen the season, you're kind of like, well, I mean, I guess.
I don't know the interpersonal relationships of, all of these people who I wasn't around to get to know.
I couldn't have seen that coming. I wasn't there. And so cut to the loft where Jennifer Blake is attempting to drag a bleeding, gouged out Derek back into his home instead of the hospital. Obviously.
Because Derek probably didn't want to go to the hospital. He never does.
Sure didn't. And what are they going to do there? Just frantic, get very confused as he heals instead of surgery?
Yeah.
She drops him on the floor because he is too heavy for her. Or is he? And we see a reflection of him lying on the floor in a mirror. I cannot remember if this becomes a motif. Because it's a very clear shot. The shot moves to seeing Derek on the floor in a mirror instead of just him framed. And then I couldn't remember if the mirrors become important.
I think eventually it might, but not in a way that is really loud and clear in my brain.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put a pin in it, or I'm going to attempt to put a pin in the mirrors to see if they come back, or if it was just a cool choice for the moment. Did you consider this scene, this little incident of them coming into the loft, as a parallel of Styles carrying Derek into For Abomination? Because he also drops Derek into the pool. Yeah. No one can bear the weight of Derek.
I do now. So the things that really stand out to me in this scene, Jennifer is such a goober.
Yes.
She's got that. It's the problem, guys. It's the problem. If you look at Teen Wolf kind of as a whole, and I'm going far off on Derek. My goggles are on. I'm really sorry. Here we go. They basically try to put Styles with every Hale but Derek.
Yep.
And for the most part, all of Derek's love interests kind of emulate Styles.
Yes, they do.
Except for one of them, which, is we'll get to her next season, and I love her. But like as we kind of like look through kind of the, not Kate, not the other one who we haven't gotten to yet, but as we look at his like first love, who we'll meet in a few episodes, as we look at Jennifer, as we kind of like look towards the movie and we're like shruggy emojis, like Jennifer is rambling. She's rambling, and she's kind of like twitching and like moving her hands, and she's like, I don't really know what to do with you here. And it's so Styles coded.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy. Also, they do more of those shots of just Derek being beautiful. It's so female gaze.
Yes. Okay. I have thoughts on that for their scenes later. Do we just want to cover Derek and Jennifer all together? Because
just cover it together, because they come back and they, make some choices. Yeah.
Yeah. So this episode will cut back and forth to Derek and Jennifer, but I don't think the cuts to them really, they don't highlight much in the episode. Like they're thoughtful in that they break up the action at the motel, but I don't know that talking about them in order does anything specific. Other than there's a moment where with Scott later where he says something and you're like, no, I think Derek's fine right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so maintaining at the loft, Jennifer goes ahead to like take Derek's shirt off to see his like big ass slicey gut open wounds, and he's like bleeding black blood.
Yeah.
And one issue here is like no one here has told Jennifer about supernatural shit. She has just seen some shit lately.
Yeah.
And seems to be very chill with it.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, Derek and red flags are par for the course. Like,
yeah, Derek doesn't see red flags. They're all green to him.
They're all fine. He doesn't even see flags.
No.
He just exists in a world where everything is what it is. And I know that he is out of blood and struggling to heal, but this woman has not been like, hey, you know how you were almost dead before and you're fine now?
You're almost dead again.
That's so weird. And like no scars from when your entire stomach was open like a week ago?
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah.
And those monsters that were in the boiler room, what were they?
What was that? Yeah.
And you were like fighting with claws? You don't have those.
What?
So yeah, he passes out and she like puts her head on his chest to like listen to his heartbeat, which is really loud. And I don't know if that was meant to be a clue or that was just for the audience to be like, he's alive.
I think that's for the audience.
Okay. I'm trying, like this time through, I'm trying to decipher, like, are these clues or is this for the audience?
Well, there would be more clues if they had any light in this stupid scene, which they generally do not. So dark. But
it's very blue and it's so dark.
It's very blue and it's really dark. But like, again, Jennifer is being such a cutie. She's being like a nervous little cutie. Derek, please don't die. The oh my God would be for your unbelievable physique if you weren't bleeding black blood. Like,
yeah.
She's trying to be a cutie. Like,
she's trying to be cutie.
She's
Think
trying
about
to be
this.
a cutie.
Who is she doing that for?
I don't know.
It's for the audience.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be for it's
in
like
case he's awake.
I think, but as she says this, he's awake. So, she's doing it for him.
Yeah.
But to what end, I don't really, doesn't really make a ton of sense. But as we get a little later, you know, they're having a very sexy blue moment. There's a lot of like breathing and like deep emotional stuff, and you know, and Derek's like, well, everybody thinks I'm dead, and I have to tell them I'm not dead. And Jennifer goes, do you know how many characters in literature use a false death to their advantage? And my brain goes,
to say. What a thing to say to someone.
Yeah.
Who says that?
Well, you would say that if like you had any idea that you were like preparing for a battle or doing something of the sort, but like just your regular average teacher just hitting on a guy, like that's odd.
Yeah. Me, I'd be like, yeah, we got to tell your friends.
Yeah, we got to tell your friends.
Let me find you a clean shirt or not.
Yeah.
I did like the line of her going, you're like one giant open wound. Because I was like, emotionally, yes, he is.
Yes, correct.
And it's like, there's no bandages or first aid in the loft. He's like, I don't usually need them. And my brain was like, Styles does, though.
Yeah.
You
Other
have
people
humans.
might.
Other people might need them, friend.
Lydia will need them. Allison will need them. Christopher will need them.
I think Christopher comes packing his own.
Well, sometimes, you know, when he and Peter are off on adventures, then perhaps they might,
yes. They might need extra bandages. This is so true. But yes, there's some making out. There's also a lot of diagonals in this. Yeah. The framing, the camera angles are like intense. What are they called? Finale. I can't remember the name of the angle.
No idea.
It's meant to evoke, you know, not quite danger, but anxiety, and you know, they're very intense angles.
And it works.
It does work. And they get some making out. And my note here was about the choreography being that you see Derek and not her.
Yes, the entire time. The entire time you're just looking at Derek and his jawline and his like, you know, chest, pec, shoulder area.
His
and
eyelashes.
I'm like, oh my God, so many shots of his eyelashes.
Yeah. Like she's
what?
behind him at one point. Like
what?
It reminded me of Ghost when they're at the oh my God. What's
the pottery
it called?
Wheel?
The pottery wheel.
Oh
I was like the pestle, but at the pottery wheel, and she's in front and Swayze's behind.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're highlighting Derek like he's the woman.
Yeah,
like body out.
They're highlighting Derek. And like
tits out. Like
yes, tits out, tits up, tits out. Like it is I'm not mad, but I don't understand it. Yeah. So, and the sexy music and these two start getting sexy. And again, the damn eyelashes, Derek is so shot for the female gaze. The fuck is this? I love and appreciate it. I love and appreciate it, but I have so many questions. Also my biggest question in this moment is where the hell is Cora? Where the hell is Cora? She saw the sock on the door and was like, gotta go. Is she still hanging out with Uncle Peter? Like, she might be. She might be. Like, I'm sitting here going, like, Derek, middle name Hale, you kicked Isaac out because with Cora, there's just too many people in the house, and now you're getting sexy. And where the fuck is your sister, sir? Yeah, she's not in this entire episode. No, where the hell did she go? Oh, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so the entire purpose of this is that we have officially established a sexual-ish relationship between Derek and Jennifer. Yep. And that, you know, we're excited about it, ? Because Derek starts to like mac up on Jennifer and his wounds start to heal because his heart is healing. Like, ugh. But also he's real pretty. So like real pretty, but so many questions. Just the framing of this whole thing once again is like, I don't know how many times they're going to be like, look at them framing Derek as the female love interest. Yes. I'm not angry about it. I'm not angry about it, but it's so Heathcliff on the Moors. It's it is so shot for the female gaze. It is love it. Wild. It's wild. Good for him. So also a little Heathcliffy. I think we should stay in the blue scene real quick. Yeah. Chris Argent is back at the scene of the battle. The scene is still blue. Yeah. And I guess what he's trying to do is map out the blood splatter to figure out what happened. Yeah, because he's looking at like the cracks in the wall and the footprints and the blood splatter and the claw marks, and yeah, he's trying to see it.
Yeah, which seems a little impossible, but like you do you, man.
Yeah.
Because we get little flashes here and there of the battle. Like, no, we saw this. We're good.
Yeah, it's a little Sherlock Holmes of him, but I'll take it.
Mm-hmm. And so at one point, Allison calls him to say that they're staying at the motel for the night. Is this the first time that she has said that they followed the bus? Like, she's not even supposed to be with the bus.
She's definitely not supposed to be with the bus. And Chris doesn't really seem to care all that much. He's supportive of her. He wants to make sure that she's safe, but has nothing to say about the fact that she just like followed her ex-boyfriend around.
I was like, wait, hold on, sir. She's somewhere in Northern California having followed a bus with her bestie. She's not supposed to be there.
I didn't tell you about it.
I didn't tell you.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. So, but she tells him the name of the motel, the Glen Capri, and he gets a little look across his face like, oh, he knows something. Ruh-roh. And he's like, it sounds familiar in that way that, of course it does. He knows something we don't know. And he's like, we don't have to keep anything. Well, he wants to come get them.
Right.
Which should tell everyone that something is very, very wrong.
Right.
And he's like, we don't have to keep anything from each other. And she's like, no, it's not okay, Dad, we're fine. But he knows now that she was at the battle because he finds evidence of her arrows in the wall.
Yes.
And she still hasn't said anything to him about that. So they are still keeping a secrets from each other.
Yeah, because Chris doesn't tell Allison where he is, and Allison really isn't telling Chris that like she's involved. So we're all still keeping secrets.
We got some secrets. Yeah, so poor Chris. We'll come back to Chris at the very end.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to spoil the end. Ruh-roh. So we got to go back to the motel itself. And Scott is back in his room, 213, and he is looking at himself in the bathroom mirror, and he sees his eye flash alpha red. Oh no.
So this wasn't just a fluke. It's happening again.
Uh-oh, buddy. It's too bad he doesn't have someone he can call to talk about this.
Yeah, it would be super, super convenient for him to have like sort of a mentor figure.
Yeah.
Who is totally read in and up on the werewolf situation and could answer some questions about, hey, I thought that you could only become an alpha by killing one. Yeah. Why are my eyes red? ? Be super cool. And perhaps like an Obi-Wan figure.
Yeah. Weird.
Man, if only Scott had seen Star Wars.
If only. He knew. So we also have Styles going down to get something from the vending machine because remember, they have been on this bus all day. They are now at a motel that obviously does not have a restaurant attached to it.
Have these children eaten anything?
I don't think so. And these are teenage boys.
Did they pull the bus into like the McDonald's drive-thru? Like,
I hope so. I hope Coach is shelling out for Big Macs because these boys are going to be hungry.
Yeah, they are.
Canon or Fannin, werewolves eat more. Does it ever come up in the show? I cannot remember.
Fannin?
I think it might be Fannin. I don't remember the show ever being like, hey, I my metabolism, I'm a werewolf. I got to eat an entire fucking cow.
Fannin, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's good Fannin. I like it.
Yeah, it's good. It's appropriate. It makes total sense. I buy it. It's canon in my brain, but I think it's Fannin.
Yeah, because it's Styles who goes down to the vending machine to get some snackies, and Boyd is standing there looking like a full zombie.
This is what happens when you don't take Allison's course on safe substance use in high school and college. Yes.
Yeah, he does look like he's on something.
Yeah, he is just like staring deadpan into the snack machine.
Mm-hmm. He presses some buttons. His food gets stuck. And instead of Silas is like, oh, I got a patent method to get that out. But instead, Boyd just breaks the glass.
So fast, too. It wasn't even like, he doesn't like, there's a, here's the wind up and the pitch. It was just like, boom.
It's broke. He goes, grabs his little peanut butter snacky and just leaves without ever saying a word to Styles. Oops. Whoops. Styles obviously takes some snacks too, as he should. He is probably starving.
Yeah, indeed.
So that's not great. Lydia and Allison are sharing a room, obviously. I couldn't catch the room number, though.
I don't know.
So Allison is showering, which did give me the question of like, man, no one has a change of clothes.
No, they're all putting their clothes back on.
They're all putting their day-old underwear and clothes back on.
Correct.
Ugh. So it's been sitting in that bus all day, sweating.
Yeah.
Gross. So Allison is showering, and Scott appears in the doorway.
Yeah, because she's asking for Lydia if Lydia got new towels, and then she kind of pokes her head out, and there's Scott.
Yeah. And Allison is not as freaked out as I would have been. I mean, even though they were dating, I think my response would have been like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, because Scott's like, I've seen you naked before. And I'm like, well, yeah, which is probably why she's not, like actively trying to beat you to death with a shower rod.
Yeah.
But, like,
because even a naked Allison is a deadly Allison.
Correct.
So, like, again, the camera angles here are intense.
Yes, they're so intense. This is such an intense episode, which I think is why they flash back and forth to Derek and Jennifer.
To calm it down.
To kind of like zen it out a little bit, because what counteracts like murder tension better than sexual tension, question mark?
I guess.
But, so we're in the bathroom and Scott is like coming onto Allison and like tries to like touch her, and my notes going, try to touch her, stop it. But he's also got that like glassy look in his eyes. It's like, what's going on?
He's like, we're still friends. We could just be closer friends. And I was like, blah.
And I really appreciate, so everyone will kind of go on and on and on about how great Dylan O'Brien's acting is. And it is. But I really appreciate all of the wolves. And I'm going to highlight, Tyler Posey here, because he is able to change his voice and he is able to change his mannerisms.
He did really well in this episode.
To signify that like something is happening. And the episode wouldn't make any sense if they weren't able to do that.
Yep.
And so I'm really, really appreciative of Tyler Posey and what he's able to do with Scott in this episode. It is great, terrifying, super spooky, and great.
Yeah, much spook. But he snaps out of it. Speaking of Lydia has gone down to, we'll politely call it reception.
Yeah, it's reception.
To get towels that don't smell like smoke. And the proprietor is down there, and she has a tracheostomy from decades of smoking. Don't smoke, kids. And in fact, don't vape. Don't be gross. And there is a sign in the back that it's like a flip sign, and it reads 198. And the proprietor is like, yeah, it's an inside thing for the motel. And it's morbid. And it's a count of the guest suicides.
And Lydia goes, 198. And the proprietor goes, and counting.
And then we get one of the best details this show has done thus far, and maybe the show ever does, because the scene cuts to a TV on static, and Isaac is changing the channels, and the channel is on 199, and it goes to 200 and 201.
Yeah.
Perfect. Love it.
It's perfect. I
made
the same note, because you like see the thing, you see the static, and you see the numbers climbing up, and you hear the clicking, and then it goes to Isaac. And again, this is Daniel Sharman, who has that kind of glazed look in his eyes.
Yes.
Isaac, like Scott, like Boyd, is like
incredible.
That was incredible. It was so well written. It was so well executed. It was so well acted. It was so well produced. So good.
Yep. Incredible. No notes.
Incredible perfection, no notes.
Yeah, I was really happy about that. I was like, that's how you make TV.
Yes, correct. That's how you do it.
You did it. So back in their room, Lydia and Allison are talking about the excessive suicides at the motel.
Excessive, correct.
Excessive. Lydia's doing the math, but like the math's not important. It's the number occurring in one location. And that they're like keeping track. That's right. Weird.
Yeah.
And then Lydia starts hearing voices that are like apparently coming through the vent in their room wall, and they're kind of echoey, and we kind of know, I think the audience knows that this is like a suicide from the past, or maybe the audience doesn't know. I don't know.
No, I think if you watch it a second time, you might know that it's a suicide from the past, but I think in the moment
you're not supposed to
hear. Lydia, I think, has to this point been construed as basically an unreliable narrator.
Yes, very true.
Because Lydia knows things that are true for her, but they don't necessarily correlate to things that are true in the world. And so the entirety of season 2, when she was possessed by somebody else, really kind of shook that.
Yep.
But then her ability to be a reliable narrator really kind of kicked into high gear after Peter was resurrected. And so Lydia is hearing this for the first time. And I think so are we, because we've established that this is like the suicide motel.
Yes.
But we're still not really sure what Lydia can and cannot hear.
Yes. And this is the first time I think that we've heard whispers in the motel.
Yeah.
But we have heard Lydia have hallucinations or it's hard to call them hallucinations when she was under Peter's control.
Yeah.
She has heard things that weren't there before.
Yeah. And I mean, like with the piano teacher from the last episode.
Right. Yeah.
Like she can hear something. She doesn't know what it is, but she hears something that's not there.
Yeah.
And her body is still, once again, doing things kind of out of her control and without her consent. Like when she drives and finds the body at the pool.
Yeah, totally. And so they go to the room next door, which is 216, to investigate.
Yeah, because they hear two people who have basically made a suicide pact, and they both commit suicide by gunshot.
Yes, but that room is under renovation. There's nothing there, which does not make sense to her. And Allison hasn't heard anything.
Right. So as my shipping goggles are still on very, very tightly, kind of one of the key Allison Lydia scenes happens in this room, because Lydia is looking just broken. Lydia is hearing people commit suicide and trying to find them, and they're not there.
Mm-hmm.
And so her face is just raw and open and broken. And Allison goes, "I believe you. Yeah. After everything we've been through, I believe you."
Yeah.
And it just like, I don't think you're crazy. I don't think you're making it up. I believe you.
And at this point in their relationship and what they've been through, like, you have to start believing Lydia at some point. Like, it's not like these things are new to their group. They have werewolves, they have Kanima, they have magic. Yeah. If someone says they're hearing voices, like, let's at least start with "I believe you" and work back from there.
For sure. But then Lydia sees something.
Yes. Oh no. I like this episode.
Yeah.
There's so much in this episode. So like it
Are you saying are you going to tell us what Lydia sees, or do you not have it in your notes?
No, it's the construction light, right?
She sees, so if like Lydia kind of like looks up and starts like moving towards the wall, and we get these camera shots of the wood grain on the wall.
Oh, the wood grain. Yes, I forgot. Oh, I thought the wood grain came later. It doesn't though. It comes here.
It comes here, yeah. Because my note says, "Look at the screaming faces on the wall." Lydia is like looking. Lydia's looking at the wall and kind of like cocking her head because she can hear these like whispers, and so she's looking at the wood grain on the wall, and there's just like echoes of screaming faces.
That's right. I thought the wood grain came later when Ethan was in the room.
No, that's the electrical light.
That's the electrical light. I was getting them confused. No, you're right. That's another detail that I really like though, because it's like it reminded me of the Scream. The way they were shaped, the painting, the Scream.
Yeah, absolutely.
But and then that's right. She's hearing more screams that seem to come from that little shape in the wall.
Yeah, and I do believe, because this is not a spoiler-free zone, I do believe that ability of hers comes back.
To look at a thing.
Well, because those faces in the wood grain in the wall, as basically like as a piece of the soul of the person who died there, like that's kind of her like tether. I think that comes back. Yeah, and I thought the panel, so the little piece of paneling I thought was meant to be like left over from the original room before they've gotten around to renovating it, right? Maybe.
Okay. Because that would make sense to it being like the last pieces of those two that died in that room.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I'm putting my scenes back in order.
Yes, but now we have to just take our hearts and rip them out of our bodies and stomp on them.
No, we could skip Boyd altogether because it's too sad.
Absolutely not. We will give him the time and attention he deserves.
Boyd.
But we just have to cry about it first. So yeah, next up is Boyd.
So he is still alone. Like, he and Isaac are pretty alone in this motel, even though I think they've picked the room together.
Yeah,
But
they're rooming together.
They're rooming together, but it's like they've spent it apart.
Yeah.
And I think it's maybe because they're both wolves, so they're
Yeah.
experiencing this whole thing.
Yeah, because they're both, because Scott is rooming with Styles, Lydia's rooming with Allison, and Ethan's basically rooming with Danny.
I assume they picked each other because no one else is going to deal with that shit.
Yeah. And so Boyd and Isaac are rooming together, and that means that they're both experiencing this fugue state.
This fies. So he's gone down to get gone down and out. Well, it's an out, anyway, to the worst looking ice machine. Like, this is the kind of ice machine where you do get Legionnaire's disease from.
Correct.
And I was like, Boyd, no, don't eat that ice. But he's starting to hear voices, and he hears, like, don't leave me. And, like, whispers of someone named Alicia. And I think this is the first time that we're getting any sort of apparent backstory for Boyd, right?
Yep.
So we don't know who Alicia is. We don't have any context around why he would be hearing this. Like, this is our first introduction to Boyd and emotions.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, other than anger.
Yeah. This is like, oh, no.
Yeah, but, like, he starts to hear Alicia, and it kind of snaps him out of it.
A little bit, yeah.
It kind of snaps him out of it because then he recognizes her voice and starts to call for her.
Mm-hmm.
And then starts to dig in the ice chest.
Yeah, he starts clawing through it and then sees a face buried in the ice.
Who I assume is Alicia.
Ugh.
And she opens her eyes and starts to stare at him.
Yes, she does.
It's very, very scary. And every single time I go into an ice machine, I'm scared to find a body. Just like this. Every time.
I mean, it's not impossible.
Oh my God. I've seen this in too many TV shows. I'm so scared.
I know.
So Boyd is having a very bad night. You know who else is having a bad night? His roommate.
His roomie, Isaac. Isaac, who seems to be the only one actually trying to sleep.
Attempting, yeah.
He's attempting. But then he starts hearing, like, thumping or banging, maybe, like, super loud footsteps. It's not entirely clear. At first he thinks it's Boyd. But then he hears clearly his dad yelling at him.
Hey, Daddy-O.
This motherfucker. And he's yelling about, like, a certain kind of wrench.
Like they're doing car work or car repair.
Yeah,
or something.
It seems like a car thing. And Isaac actually starts, like, responding to his dad. And this seems like maybe a conversation that they'd actually had in the past.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's replaying a traumatic incident. And then it flips into his dad yelling at him to get into the freezer.
Yeah. And so at this point, Isaac is out loud having both sides of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And
he is living it. He's
living it. It's not the Josh Lyman remember it without reliving it. He is reliving it.
Yeah.
And it ends up with him having to go into the freezer with a beautiful shot.
It's really cool. It's like this above looking down shot, which I'm sure has a name that I cannot remember right now. Like, it's all black around him. You just see Isaac getting, like, thrown by a mysterious force into the freezer, and then it clamps shut.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's really cool, though. And it sucks.
It really does. It really does suck.
He only gets, like, 3 good days a week.
Seriously.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
So we got 2 wolves having shit days. Does it go to Scott, or do we go back to Boyd?
We go to Scott, but I think in the middle somewhere, I think it might be Allison and Lydia.
Lydia wants the reception.
Yeah, because they go back to reception because
Lydia wants just to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, Lydia's trying desperately, like, I'm done, I'm out.
Yeah.
And so they go back to reception, and the proprietor is not there. It's closed till morning.
Yeah, gone till 6 a.m.
But the suicide counter on the wall is now at 2:01.
2:01, which is the channel that the TV that Isaac was using landed on.
Yes.
I was like, continuity, woohoo!
So good.
I love it. I mean, I don't like it because that's a lot, but yeah. So, Lydia was like, it was 198. And like, oh no, is that 3 more to go? Have 3 happened? Like, oh shit.
Yeah. So then we go back to Scott.
Something's going down. So Scott is in a room, which suddenly does not actually look like the hotel room. And his mom calls to say that she's sounded real worried and says that someone came to the house. And she tells Scott to look outside. And out in the parking lot, Scott sees Deucalion holding his mother hostage. And we do not approve of this shit.
Absolutely not.
Mama McCall does not need this from you or anyone else.
Absolutely not.
And Deucalion's like, listen, Scott is dead, and now I'm coming for you.
Derek is dead.
Derek is dead, and now I'm coming for you and everyone you love. And then he rips out Mama McCall's throat.
And I cry, and Scott cries, and it's bad.
And it's real bad. And then Scott snaps back into reality because it is a hallucination.
And there's no one in the parking lot, and his mom wasn't on the phone.
Nope. It's just Stiles walking into the room being like, what is up?
Yeah. And so at this point, I think at this point, it's not in my notes, but I think at this point, Lydia sends Stiles a text. Like, we got to talk, just you.
Yeah, she does. She says Stiles has walked into the room being like, hey, you doing okay, bud? And then, yes, Lydia texts Stiles to be like, we need to talk, not the wolves. Yeah.
Well, speaking of the wolves, we're going to break up some tension again because it's Danny and Ethan time.
They are making out in this murder motel with not a care in the world.
They give 0 fucks about literally anyone else. They're just having a grand old time.
Yeah. These dirty ass sheets, they're just like, don't care.
Whatever.
Our friends are all around us. The coach is maybe in the room next door. Don't care. They're having a cute little conversation about Danny's scars from a surgery he had as a kid.
Yeah, I think this is like Ethan trying to vaguely gauge if Danny wants to be a werewolf.
I think so too. Yeah, because like, what if you could make these scars go away? And Danny's like, I wouldn't. They make me feel like a survivor.
Yeah, I like them. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, and Ethan's like, yeah, right.
Yeah, right. You're still cute. I'll still kiss you.
So we have perma-human number 2. Stiles
Hooray!
And Danny.
Yep.
Perma-humans. But then Ethan's back starts to like split open.
Like it does when he goes big twin alpha.
Big twin. And he's like, yo, shit. Okay. And kind of like pulls away from Danny to go check himself out in the mirror, where he like sees a face start to like emerge from his stomach, like pull at the skin.
It was very Voldemort of him.
It was very Voldemort. And that is not great for him. So he's like, sorry, I gotta go and figure out why I am morphing into myself.
Yeah.
Or what is happening here.
Yeah. And he runs out and Danny's like, okay, bye.
Yeah. Okay, come back. Because very little bothers Danny. He's just like, all right.
Danny's just the chillest. And
Yeah.
we love him. We love him for that. We do.
Yeah, because like if Ethan doesn't come back, like Danny's not going to know anything else is happening.
Right.
So he's like, go. Okay.
So we move on to Team Human. Well, mostly human. Stiles, Lydia, and Allison. And they're talking about like, hey, is there something wrong with the wolves? Like, yeah, there's something really wrong with the wolves. And then they pull out, like Lydia's talking about something and they pull out the Bible, like the Gideon Bible that's in the hotel room.
Yeah, she says something about needing to do an exorcism.
Yeah. And then they find newspaper clippings of all the suicides that happened in that room's Bible.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And I was like, so was someone going around doing research, or was it the proprietor being like, these are the suicides that happened in this room? I'm still not sure who put the newspaper clippings in each Bible in each room.
I'm going with the proprietor because she's 100% a true crime girly before they were cool.
This is true. Okay. Yeah.
She's a true crime matron.
True crime matron. I like it. Okay. Because for a hot minute, I was like, was there like a supernatural hunter who had come to this motel and was trying to like solve the suicides and had put like, were Dean and Sam Winchester here at one point and putting newspaper clippings and like.
Would not surprise me.
Yeah, so they were like,
they're
okay, the
like
number in the office went up by 3, like 3 sacrifices.
3 werewolves, maybe?
Maybe.
And then all of a sudden they hear something, like a weird mechanical whirring, and they're like, huh, what is this noise?
Sounds like a handsaw.
So then they run to the room next door, which is the construction room, and it is a handsaw because Ethan is trying to cut the face werewolf thing out of his belly with a handsaw.
Yep, sure is. Not great.
And so I love it's 2 sides of the same orange cat. Stiles is trying to wrestle the saw away from Ethan while Lydia unplugs the saw.
I know. Like, just go unplug it first, you guys.
And it's like, I love both of their like initial instincts. I love this.
And we'll see it later in a gentler way, but Stiles's first thought is often throw human body into danger.
Yes, he wants to get between the person about to be harmed and the thing doing the harming, giving very little thought. He wants to be a direct intervene. Yeah. A direct intervention. Whereas Lydia takes a second, sees a wider picture, and is able to look at outside influences. And both are very important, but definitely should work as a team.
And he has the most fragile body to lose.
He sure does.
So I love Fandom Stiles when he has a bunch of scars because he keeps getting his ass beat by monsters.
Yes. I'm not sure if I like tattooed Stiles or scarred Stiles more. It really depends. But like, they're both so good.
¿Por qué no los dos?
It depends on how much magic he needs for his tattoos.
This is fair. This is very true.
But no, I love human Stiles. It's just covered in scars because like this is what he does.
This is what he does. Canonically, he throws himself into physical harm to save people.
Twice.
And he doesn't even like Ethan.
No. He spent the entirety of last episode like trying to get the drop on him.
Yeah. Doesn't even like this guy. And he's like, oh, I better save him.
Yeah, because you know, Allison and Lydia are trying to figure out other ways, but Stiles is like, no, must intervene.
Must intervene.
And I love that about him.
So they get the handsaw away only to have Ethan try to claw the face out of his stomach. But he accidentally touches one of the lights. I don't know if we have one of these construction lights in the basement that we use. I don't know if you've ever touched it. It's hot.
I haven't touched one, but I've used to work in the theater.
The theater?
And those lights are so hot.
So hot.
We have them like on the floor to do like uplighting on the stage. And if you brush across it, it's like molten sharp metal. And everything about it is monsters.
I honestly don't know why people are allowed to own these.
Well, I think a lot of them now are made of LEDs, which don't get nearly as hot.
That's fair.
So it's the old light bulbs.
Yeah, they're super hot. So I totally get why this would snap Ethan out of his fugue state. And he's just like, I don't know how I got here. What the shit?
Yeah, and then he runs away.
And then he scampers off, which is pretty funny to me. He was just like big bad werewolf. And he's like, okay, gotta go, bye.
Run away.
Run away. Yeah. So does this go back to Boyd?
No, we have to politely accuse Lydia first because Stiles and Lydia are walking away from the Ethan construction room, and Stiles has to politely accuse Lydia of like, you know, maybe it's you because of remember the last time you did something like this where you kind of poisoned us all at your birthday party.
Yeah.
And Lydia is a little scared that it's her and that she's doing it again and that she can't control it just like the last time.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is fair. I mean, she doesn't like the accusation, but is also like, how can I know that it's not me because I didn't know that it was me the first time?
Exactly. Like, it's not that it gives Stiles any great pleasure to accuse Lydia of being, you know, like an evil druid, but she definitely has done this before. Mm-hmm. Not on purpose, but she has done it before.
Yep.
And now it's time to go back to Boyd. And I want to just give him the biggest hug. He deserves so much better. You deserve so much better. You still deserve so much better. I love you so much. Oh my God.
So he is back alone in his room and hears someone talking to him through the radio.
Yep.
Which
and, like,
is
he's just like sitting. He's just like sitting on the side of the bed and he looks so scared.
He does.
And so
Well,
numb. He's just like, oh, and
he's
not
also
in like a fugue state kind of way, but
no.
in like a emotionally connected to traumatic past kind of way.
Yeah, he's also barefoot and like in an undershirt. So he's kind of like stripped of a lot of clothing.
Yeah.
Which makes him look even more vulnerable.
Yeah.
And the person on the radio is like interrogating him about an incident. It's like, imagine you're seeing Alicia skating on the ice rink and then she's just gone. You're like, what is going on? What happened? Like, we don't know what happened, but we're supposed to imagine that there was this girl who went ice skating and then is gone. And the clock next to him is stuck on 12:46. And he's just like, did I do it? Is this my fault?
Yeah. Is she dead? Is it my fault?
Is she dead? Is it my fault?
Like, so Boyd is listening. I think what we're trying to put together here is that Boyd is listening to a conversation that he had with the cop as a little kid.
Yes, I think so.
When from an event in which his sister Alicia went missing.
Yes. Yeah. Or I think also went under the ice.
Maybe she went under the ice.
Yeah, because they found her, or he saw her in the ice chest.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So she definitely went into the ice, but yeah, is she dead? Is it my fault?
Mm-hmm. Just over and over, like playing in his mind, which I am sure he has been thinking for the last, if the voice on the radio is him as a kid, let's say 10 years, maybe, I don't know.
Maybe. That's a little kid.
It's a little kid on the radio, yeah.
8, 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he's 17, 18 now.
Yeah.
So, a barefoot Boyd goes down to the reception office and sees a safe.
And starts looking at it suspiciously.
Yes.
Yeah. No. Boyd just like smashes the radio. He kills it with his foot. And I'm just like, yes, correct. Like, yeah. Which, of course, so I don't know if we ever actually retouched on this. I'm hoping that we did. So for anybody who's keeping score on when episodes are recorded and released, this is fun for you. I listened to our newly released episode 2-1 Omega today.
Oh my God, when did we record that?
Huh?
When did we record that?
Pretty much as soon as the SAG-AFTRA strike was over.
Good for us.
So a while back. But I was talking about how in fic with the Hail Pack, and they get call names, that Isaac's is Gravedigger, Erica's is almost always Catwoman, and then Boyd is like Iceman or something to do with the rink because that's where he works and he's like on the Zamboni.
Oh.
How much of that? Like, how is it connected?
Yeah.
Because when we meet Boyd, his job, he gives Styles the keys to the ice rink that he works at. He works doing Zamboni work on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
interesting. Yeah.
This is a connection, and these two, they have to play together, but I don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like listening to Alicia disappear at the ice rink, and all I can see is Boyd on the Zamboni working alone in the quiet on the ice rink. Is he like atoning for something? Like,
or does he feel like if he can control this ice, when he couldn't control like
that ice,
a wild ice?
Yeah, if it's something to be closer to her, like this is the thing that I wanted more of.
Yeah, I mean, we never find out that much about Boyd beyond this.
No. Not beyond this. This is the most we ever find out about Boyd.
And no one really gets to ask him about this.
No.
Because this happens inside his head. This doesn't happen with other people around. He doesn't get to say like, hey, my sister died and I was there and I blamed myself for it. And I feel really shitty about it. And then my best friend died in front of me. And that also sucked.
I feel like the dead relative thing is a thing he could talk to Styles about.
Yeah.
Or even Allison. Not that Boyd and Allison are going to be besties anytime soon, but like, you know. And the dead girlfriend bestie, talk to Derek. Mm-hmm. They could bond over this. They could help each other through the trauma.
Yeah.
Ugh. The things that they could have had if they had just spoken to each other.
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah, no. So this entire thing with Boyd just like shatters me. But yeah, then he goes like downstairs and goes to the office and looks suspiciously at the safe.
He does. And So if we cut back to outside with Lydia, she has had this conversation with Styles, and then she hears a baby crying while standing over this grate.
Yeah.
And she kind of gets down and she hears water running and comes to a conclusion that it seems like someone's drowning, right? Like something is happening with water and a baby and a person, and like we don't know what's happening, but she's convinced like someone is drowning.
Yeah, because she's hearing a baby who won't stop crying, and there's like what sounds like the tub running, and then this woman who sounds almost hysterical, and I'm imagining it's a young mother.
Yeah,
who is like, "Why won't you stop crying? What do you want from me? Like, it's gonna be over. Like, let's just go to sleep. Let's just be quiet. Like, let's just be done." And drowns the baby.
Yeah, and inside, Boyd is getting into a full bathtub holding this incredibly heavy safe.
A giant iron safe.
In order to drown himself.
Yeah. Someone's drowning and it's Boyd.
And Styles and Lydia race back into the motel to find Boyd, and they cannot lift the safe off him.
And Lydia keeps trying. Keeps trying. Like, so she sends... Like, so Styles, they try to unplug the tub and they can't. And they're, trying to think of like, well, Ethan got zapped out of it by the light, but I can't bring that in here. We got to get fire. How do I do that? You can't burn fire underwater. And so Lydia tells Styles to go and get the road flares from the bus because they have their own oxidizers and can burn underwater. Is that true?
I don't know. I didn't bother looking it up.
I hope that's true.
Here we go. Can road flares burn underwater? A flare will extinguish when placed horizontally in water, but a vertical burning underwater shows sufficient gas is being generated to displace the water away from the front.
How about that? So the way he used it would have not worked, but in theory it would happen.
In theory, it would happen if you burned it vertically.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so Styles so Styles runs out of the room, and Lydia is trying to pull the safe off of.
And this is not a woman who works out.
Off of Boyd, yeah. It's not. No, she is trying. She's trying.
And she also hears sniffling coming from the room. She hears more crying.
Yeah.
And she finds Isaac underneath the bed in the room. Huddled and scared and alone, but he's actually not alone. Both he and Boyd have come back to the same room.
Yeah, they're just. I have to wonder: was Isaac under the bed when Boyd had his radio moment?
I wonder if he was and saw him like smash it.
Yeah, is it one bed? Is it two beds? Did Isaac hide under his own bed? Did he hide under Boyd's? Isaac locked himself in the freezer.
I know. What if he tried to cram himself into the mini fridge?
Oh God. Yeah, and so Styles comes back to the room where the road flares, and he gets Boyd, and he like zaps Boyd in the bathtub, and Boyd roar and throws the safe off of him. And then in the most Styles way I could possibly imagine, he goes under the bed to find Isaac and is real cute. It's like, I got something for you, and then shoves a road flare in his face. Yep. Like, oh my God.
I loved his little grin.
It's awful, and I understand why you did it. Like, I hate it.
It was the same grin when he sat down next to Jared to get him to puke.
God, yes.
I love shitbag Styles.
He's 100% a shitbag Styles.
So they have another werewolf they need to go find.
Because Allison went into Scott's room earlier and couldn't find him, but he's missing.
Couldn't find him. He's missing. He has gone off somewhere, and where that is outside in the parking lot, standing with the second flare dripping in gasoline, which no one else in the school has noticed. Like, none of the other students have noticed any of this.
No, absolutely not.
Nothing. But that's fine. So the music here is just incredibly sad.
Yeah.
Beautiful, but sad.
Yeah.
And Scott is there prepared to light himself on fire. And he's like, there's no hope. Not for me, and not for Derek. And then it cuts to Derek having sex with open wounds, and I was like, I think Derek's doing fine, buddy.
I think he's fine, but I appreciate your point.
I appreciate your point. And he's, talking about how things would be better if he wasn't there. And Styles is just stepping closer and closer. He's the one who's like coming closer to his best friend, as Scott is wondering if this is the best thing that he could do for everyone else.
And it's one of the things that I love about Scott is that he has such an emotional intelligence. Like all the emotional intelligence of the writer's room all got funneled into Scott, because this is such a real thought process for folks who are suicidal, that there isn't any hope, that this would just be better for everybody. It's the easiest option. Like, I'm totally fine. You guys are going to be better off without me. You won't even notice, I promise. That this is like such a real thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Allison, I think, is like, there's someone inside your head telling you to do this and it's not real. And so I really appreciate that the writers were able to actually put this in, and an enormous shout out to like the entire group of them, but specifically Posey, for being able to give us this deeply broken version of Scott.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And he does a really good job. Like the scene is, it's rough, but I think they do a really great job with it.
Correct.
And he, Scott's talking about like, do you remember the way it was before? It was you and me, and we weren't important, and we were no one. And maybe I should just be no one again. Because in some ways his life was better before.
Yeah.
Like, okay, he couldn't play lacrosse, but no one was trying to kill him daily.
And yep, no one was trying to kill him. But
Styles is like coming closer and closer. And he's like, you are my best friend and I need you. And you are my brother. Which is this the first time he calls Scott his brother?
Yeah. You're my best friend and I need you. Scott, you're my brother. All right, so if you're going to do this, then I think you're just going to have to take me with you.
You're taking me with you, which is it a cliche in stuff like this? Yes. Do I love it every time? Yes.
Yes.
If you're going down, I'm going down with you.
Yeah. No, these two are literally ride or die.
Yeah.
Literally.
If you're going, I'm going. You jump, I jump.
You jump, I jump.
And it's like, it makes no sense logically, like, but in a movie, in a TV show, in a book, in a podcast, I love it.
Yes.
And once again, it's Styles who has stepped forward and he is putting himself in bodily danger.
Yeah, he's literally standing in a pile of gasoline.
He steps into the gas and grabs the flare from a werewolf to throw it away.
I also really appreciate how Styles' first instinct is to just get it away and not to like look where he's throwing it.
Yeah, he just like tosses it.
Yeah.
It doesn't land in the gas. However, the flare does roll back into the gas and ignites. And Lydia is the one who sees it rolling and kind of yells and warns everyone. And they manage to jump out of the way.
Yeah, so like I think because it's sitting outside of the fire. It's sitting outside of the gasoline and everyone's like breathing and crying, but then the wind picks up and it blows it into the gasoline. And Lydia sees it and screams, not like a imminent death scream, but like a, oh no. And she shoves Styles, who then grabs onto Scott. And then they have like a pile on the other side of the explosion.
Yeah. Yep. A little chain gang of help.
Yeah. Help. And so they're just all in a giant pile. And Lydia in the backdraft of the fire, it's the big wind that's caused by the explosion. Her hair is all everywhere and she's like crying
Gorgeous.
and like looking up at the fire, and she sees something in the fire. A big hooded monster with a white scarred face.
Yep.
We don't know what it is. We don't know if it's important, but we see a big fucking scary monster in the fire.
I'm not sure if anyone else sees it. It doesn't look like anyone else does.
Yeah.
Only Lydia. So that sucks.
Whew.
And now it's the next morning and the foursome are sleeping in the bus because nobody... Yes.
Isaac is also in the bus.
Sorry, Isaac, the foursome plus Isaac.
I did not see if Boyd made it into the bus, but Isaac definitely like pokes his little head out.
Yeah, I actually didn't notice Boyd either. Maybe he was totally passed out, like laying down, head down.
I hope for everyone's sake that Boyd was also in the bus. Boyd deserves to be in the bus.
Let's just say that he is.
Boyd deserves to be in the bus.
Don't make that man go back into the motel.
No, he deserves to be in the bus. He is Pack.
He is Pack. So Coach gets on, sees them sleeping in the bus, and is just like, I don't want to know. I really don't want to know. And he's right. He doesn't want to know, and has somehow missed every chain of event that has happened in this motel, even though I know the walls are paper.
Correct.
The meet's been canceled. Everyone's got to go home. I still don't think anyone has eaten because this place does not offer a continental breakfast.
Absolutely not.
But Ethan comes up and sits down with Scott, which a little, it's a nice moment.
Yeah.
And he tells Scott that they being the Deucalion pack, thinks that Scott is still alive, or that Derek is still alive. But if he is still alive, he did kill Ennis. And that means they're going to kill him anyway.
So he definitely did not. Derek definitely did not kill Ennis.
No, he fell off the thing.
He fell off the thing, and then Deucalion crunched his face.
That's not Derek's fault.
None of that was Derek's fault. But Kali doesn't care about that.
Kali is mad. She's going to exact revenge unless Derek joins the Deucalion pack, which Derek's not going to do.
Correct.
So he's dead anyway?
Yeah.
But it was nice of Ethan to tell Scott that because he saved his life.
Yeah. Really nice.
So Coach is getting back on the bus, and Lydia hones in on the whistle around Coach's neck against his white shirt. And there is purple dust faintly on his white shirt. And Lydia takes the whistle from him. And I did like this moment because Coach is just like, what do you do? Okay, whatever.
Whatever, it's fine.
And she blows the whistle into her hand, and Wolfsbane comes out of the whistle. The wolves were all poisoned in the last episode by Wolfsbane when Coach was blowing his whistle repeatedly in Stiles' face, telling him to shut up.
Basically.
And that traveled throughout the bus and did what happened during Lydia's birthday party. Yeah. Basically.
They all
maybe it was
poisoned.
like a slightly different strain and got them a little more murdery, suicidal, but
yeah. I don't know. But it was, they all got Wolfsbane poisoning.
Yep.
So, oops.
Oopsies. So
Stiles definitely takes it out of Lydia's hand and throws it out the window.
Yep.
It can stay at the murder motel.
Yeah, it can stay there forever. But that's how the Duroc or whomever got into their heads. And I guess we have to find out eventually who specifically put it into Coach's whistle.
Yeah.
Because that's a bit of a plot.
Yeah.
Okay, the track team is going on a bus to a meet. They're not planning on stopping at a suicide motel, but just in case. Let's put Wolfsbane into the Coach's whistle in case they're in a closed area where he blows the whistle.
Yeah, maybe.
Not just outside.
It's a plot device. Just let it happen.
It's a plot device, yeah, and it makes a great episode.
Oh,
we do end with one tiny little scene of Mr. Christopher, middle name Argent, going to visit someone in a hospital, in a room, somewhere.
Like the world's saddest,
it's
retirement home I've ever seen.
This is Gerard. This is fucking Gerard.
He's alive. That rat bastard.
Rat Fink is still alive. And he is bleeding black ooze all over the place.
You know what? This is the amount of goo that we did not get from Jackson.
Yeah.
Jackson's goo magically cleared up. Gerard's goo is permanent.
It is permanent. Yep. Yes, it is. I mean, he should just be dead. So I don't know why he's still here other than for plot. But Chris is there to ask about their ancestor, their family member, Alexander.
Chris's uncle.
Yeah. Who killed himself at the motel. And he wants to know who the alpha was who bit him, which I guess Gerard would somehow know. And guess who it is?
For plot. It's for plot.
It's Deucalion.
Hey, at least it's not Talia.
At least it's not Talia.
It's not Talia Hale. At least it's Deucalion.
So correct. Yeah.
So, yeah, turns out that Deucalion bit Uncle Alexander. It's all come full circle.
Mm-hmm.
It's all come full circle.
So, if the murder hotel is a murder hotel, and there's been 198 suicides there.
Yeah.
But it was the Wolfsbane that made our wolves a little out of their minds. What made the other people
I don't know.
kill themselves?
I don't know.
It's still haunted? It's still a haunted place.
It's definitely still a haunted place. It just wasn't haunted for these particular people. Like Lydia, I don't know if she got haunted by the Wolfsbane or if she just got haunted by the murder hotel. But like Scott and Boyd and Ethan and Isaac got haunted by the Wolfsbane.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was thinking about that. I was like, okay, well, the humans are committing suicide at this motel for different reasons, because it's haunted, not because they're getting infected with wolfsbane.
Right.
Yeah.
They're getting infected with wolf.
Wolf.
At least Uncle Alex was.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just a lot happens at this place. They should really tear it down.
For sure.
Yeah, it's a wild episode. I think it's actually very well done.
Yeah.
It breaks the mold. It doesn't break a mold. Well, it breaks the Teen Wolf mold a little bit. It changes up the story a little bit. It's very character driven. I do wish, like we had said, that we got to keep Boyd's backstory in the loop.
Yeah.
Because we do know a bit more about Isaac. We had his dad on screen. We got to see them interact. The ice or the freezer comes back into play. I just don't remember that we do anything more with Boyd's backstory.
We don't.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it really, really is. It's one of the things I love about Fanon is that, we get we can make more in Fanon.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, my personal favorite Boyd headcanon is that he knew Derek from before as they played basketball together.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's my favorite.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Well, that's Motel California. I hope everyone is doing okay and that, go outside, take a deep breath.
Yeah, because this is a rough episode, but we're just about to we're over the midpoint of the season, and so we're about to climb up that roller coaster.
Yeah. Midpoint of A?
Yeah, midpoint of A of this of
3A.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a longer baby.
Yeah, it's a longer baby, but this is definitely the midpoint of 3A of this arc, and it's only going to get more wild banana nut muffin from here.
It's going to get more and more.
It's going to get more from here.
Just don't let this episode turn you off because motels are fun.
Motels are incredibly fun. Just not this particular motel.
Just not this one. Other ones.
Other motels.
Yeah. Other motels are good. Any final thoughts before we depart and get ready for the next episode?
I love how much Styles loves Scott.
Yeah.
I love how much Allison loves Lydia.
Yeah.
I love that we got some Boyd backstory, tragic and awful as it is.
Yep.
I love that Ethan is a surprisingly nice boyfriend, I guess.
Yeah.
He's he's not quite as evil as the rest of the pack. He's very nice to Danny, and Danny deserves that.
He's very nice to Danny. He just needs to figure out what side he's on.
Yeah, he's got to divest from that alpha, but he's very nice to Danny.
He has to divest his interests.
Yes, he has to divest his interests from Deucalion Incorporated.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited because the rest of the season is gonna go. I really want to like Derek and Jennifer. I do. I especially looking back at this episode. Why is her speech behavior so Styles coded, and why did we not see her at all in the camera shots? That is such an intentional choice. That's really not by accident. That's so intentional. And I'm just okay, well then maybe this is not the world's best anything for you, Derek. Maybe you should make better choices.
Because Derek's the hot girl.
Derek is the hot girl, and so is Scott.
Yeah.
They're just
little cuties.
They're so cute, and they're so good. They're so good at heart, but they're both kind of jello brains, and we love them.
They make the worst decisions.
Derek, frankly, more than Scott.
Yes, he really does.
Derek is my Blorbo, and he's definitely guilty of all of his crimes. Like, he's definitely guilty.
Listen, his entire family died when he was a kid.
I still love him, and he is very, very guilty of doing dumb fucking shit.
Correct.
But yeah, at least Scott's decision-making gets better over time. Derek's really doesn't.
It's because he has to wait so long for Styles to come around.
Eventually, though, he'll just start listening to Scott.
No.
Which, you know what? Is it a blow to your ego? Yes. Does it make you better in the long run? Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Darling children.
But yeah. Also, congratulations. This is the 30th episode of Pack Dynamics.
Hey.
Woo!
Good for us.
Yes.
Congrats to us.
Congratulations to us.
We can congratulate ourselves. That's fine.
Yeah, we can.
Why not? Hooray!
We did it.
Cool. Well, thanks for you guys for listening to 30 episodes of Pack Dynamics. That's awesome.
We love you.
Thanks. And we will catch you on the next episode where things keep happening.
Oh!
You've been listening to Pack Dynamics, a Fandom on the Rocks podcast. For more episodes, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow us online at Fandom on the Rocks. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can subscribe to our Patreon account at patreon.com/fandomontherocks. Subscribers get access to ad-free content, exclusive bonus episodes deep diving into fandom, and more. So until next time, keep your pack close.